Thank you guys, I feel the love. Good afternoon, I'm Ted Harrison. Bear with me for, if you do know me, you know that typically I make a video instead of actually getting in front of everyone and speaking. I'd like to first thank Carl Francel for writing my speech. I figured that you could use a second nap. Just kidding. But seriously, thanks to my family, all of them, for their love and support. Mom, Dad, you're the biggest blessing I could ever have received. You showed me how to do everything from baiting a hook to selling a book. You've been gracious and patient with me, even when it wasn't the easiest thing to do. Most importantly, you've been there every step of the way with a Christ-like example for me to follow. You'll never know how much that has and will continue to help me throughout my life. Tori, my little sister, I plan on coming back often to get rid of all the guys that want to date you, and I warned you now so you can't get mad at me later. And to the talent of the family, my brother Caleb, everyone jokes how I advertise for you and your music way too much, so I figured I'd let everyone know that if you find me after this graduation thing, I'll get you a copy of his music for a small fee. But seriously, Caleb, I must say that I think I finally decided it has to be Johnny Cash. I'm going to miss you next year, man. Thanks to all my teachers helping me throughout the years, and more specifically, Coach Delozier, Mrs. Antwine. Thanks for the fun and often stressful times in the student council of Palooza. To Mrs. Matthews, who probably got sick of seeing me in her office. To Mrs. Wynn for putting this whole thing on. We appreciate you're awesome. To Mr. Glasgow and Mr. McDonald, you guys are awesome. Thank you. And Mr. Huff, I regret only having you as a teacher 1 year, as I enjoyed every one of our AP Psych classes. To Mrs. Glasgow for making math bearable and for somehow being able to teach both geometry and algebra 2 in the same year. To Mr. Jones, whose life stories, crazy labs, and Australian accent made learning fun. I just have one complaint, Mr. Jones. Mike Lake now thinks it's appropriate to speak in your accent 24/7. And to the class of 2008, we survived. We went from the elementary school to the 6th grade center, to the old middle school, to the new middle school, to the high school, which has been added on to every year since. So yes, if you have the eerie feeling that we toured Piedmont, we in fact did. And along the way, we made a ton of memories, unless you consider victories memories. Because if I remember correctly, we won 1 game in all of middle school football. I think we should just face it, our class wasn't the most athletic to ever come through Piedmont. But that didn't stop Carl Francel from completing the first ever onside punt. Or coach sending receivers into the huddle to say, just hand it to Louder until they stop him. It also didn't stop Jared and Justin Puckett's constant reminders to keep our heads in the game, to which we all just stood in amazement at how the most ADD kids we've ever known could possibly have the nerve to tell us to focus. I love you guys. Lastly, fellow seniors, the other day Mr. Huff told our psychology class that the 6th greatest fear of Americans is the fear of public speaking. So I thought about that for a moment. You're telling me that my reward for getting good grades is to confront the 6th greatest fear in the minds of Americans. Still not sure how that makes sense, but then I thought about it some more, that with all the fears we have, including graduating and moving on with life, which I believe is a common one in this room, when we trust and fear God alone, when we understand that He truly is in control, all the other fears tend to go away. I have one more thanks to give out. It's to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who's allowed me the very breath I breathe at this moment and allowed me to speak before you today. Isaiah 40:31 says, "Yet those who wait on the Lord will gain new strength. They'll mount up with wings like eagles. They will run and not get tired. They will walk and not become weary." May God bless the Piedmont High School class of 2008.